Hello everyone, welcome back to POV with Dom. Now, if you are on the audio format, because obviously this podcast comes out first on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you're wondering, Dom, your voice sounds a bit weird. You've just been to Iceland, did you get your lips done? No, I have actually just got a face mask on and I'm home from the gym. Just you wait till the Sunday YouTube upload and you'll see what I look like. Hello, YouTube viewers. So yeah, my face is currently a little bit weird. It's one of those clay masks that dry and you can't really move your lips, so pretty shit choice from me, to be honest, but I need to get into something today. I'm stressed out. S-T-R-E-S, oh, for fuck's sake. How do you spell stressed? Whatever. Stressed. I'm stressed. Okay. And I want to talk about it. Stress in your early 20s is a real thing. We as young people have, I'm definitely going to get some fossil going. Excuse me, in my day. Actually, Jeffrey, we can have stress as well, darling. It's not all about you. I have never felt as much stress as I have this past few weeks. 2024 has been a bit of a bumpy start. I believe because Mercury retrograde just finished, that bitch can die. No offense. That ball of gas kicks me when I'm down, and it's so rude. Mercury, why are you trying to beef me? I'm cosplaying as you today. I'm wearing grey, and I'm like appreciating you, and yet here you are, 2 weeks after Mercury retrograde's ended, you're like, ha, you fucking suck. What the hell? I thought we were friends. Anyways, the beginning of the year, I had a bit of a stressful few days. It was, you know, when like there's loads of bad luck that happens to you and it keeps happening and then it piles on top of each other. Imagine that massive there's a Disney film with a really tall cake and it's like waving about, but it looks delicious and it's covered in icing. But like, that's not the point. The point is that it's really, really tall. Okay. And this cake is growing and growing and growing. And the cherry on top was just something really minuscule. And it caused me to just burst into tears and be like, I fucking hate my life. You know what I mean? Furthermore, wait, no, there's an intersection there. To combat that, I had a few days where I was just like, right, let's get on my grind. Let's meditate. Let's do this, that, the other. Let's sort shit out. And it worked. Meditating, getting up early, getting into a routine. I can do a whole video on morning routines and how they really, really benefit you. And also how, you know, your mindset works, you know, what you should do before bed to have a good day the next day. I know all about those little things. So I put those tips into effect, which I can definitely go into in another video or another podcast episode. And it was just the most divine thing ever. It worked. I felt great. And then I got back from Iceland yesterday and I received some really shit news. And I'm like, okay. Nice. The world has just fallen from underneath me. I'm currently free falling. And I had a whole evening where I just completely freaked the fuck out. I was in a bad mood. I was like, okay, I'm having an existential crisis. Probably the first time ever. My future is not what I thought it would be. I need to think about moving arrangements. I need to do this, that, the other. Like I need to do, this is big adult shit. This is not just a silly little like, you know, ex texting you saying, hope you've had a good Christmas. This was genuinely deep. And it's just something that's like, okay, sometimes you don't have full control in the moment. And it was definitely a learning process for me. I had to sort of, in literal seconds from finding out this news, being like, okay, shit. Usually my go-to annoyingly is panic. I'm working on that though. I'm working on not panicking whenever something goes wrong, because obviously I think as humans, we all hate change. But personally for me, when something big happens, when something big and drastic changes, I'm like, ooh, I freak out. Oh, that sounded like the Minecraft sound effect. You know, when you hit him and he goes like, ooh, you know, that's quite good. Wow. Mojang, hit me up, babe. Anyways, I think that change and stress and all this stuff is so more volatile in your early 20s because everything is changing. You finish uni or you're starting a new uni or you're moving away and things are falling out from under you and it can feel really scary. So that's what this episode is about. I'm 21. I've moved to London when I was just turned 20. Been here for over a year now. And it's been a bit of a bumpy ride, to be honest. I've had a few, I'm not going to get into personal details because I'm not going to drag people online. That's not what I do. But I've had some certainly interesting people that I've lived with. And it's just very, if you want some tips on renting with people, make sure that you probably do it with a stranger who is 100% going to stay in London the whole time that you're there. Don't move in with friends unless you are, just don't move in with friends, okay? Bills and renting and everything like that. This can be a whole separate episode, but I'm going to just chuck little sprinkles at you because this is what is in my mind right now and I need to just share. I need someone to talk to. You're my therapists, guys. Bills and rent and everything like that, make sure that you have enough for them. Make sure that you save enough for like 3 months in advance because bills here are very up and down. It's very scary. Sometimes you can get a huge bill. My friend had like a bill of $3,000. She's currently in her flat breathing. You know, when in the winter you can like pretend you're having a cigarette, like you breathe out and it's like smoke coming out your mouth because it's so cold. That is what it's like inside of her lounge. So it's like sometimes it can be scary, and this just plays into the whole circle effect. The whole point of this podcast episode is 20s, like being 20 and having stress and pressure of life, because it can become so consuming and so stressful and scary. And I want to let you know that it's okay to feel like that. I know this is probably common knowledge to you, but reminder, it's okay to feel like that. Things do work out. I'm trying to tell myself that as well, because believe me, the past 12 hours, I've been freaking out. I couldn't sleep well last night. I was like, okay, fuck, I need to get on it. I need to like move. I need to like find a house. Like, it's just shit happens sometimes, and the things that you expected for, hey, this is a really good point. Things that you sometimes expect for don't happen. Like, your expectations aren't usually met. One thing that I keep learning is to stop having such high expectations for people, places, and things. You know how like you want Christmas to be a perfect day and you always have a cry, or your birthday, you always expect your birthday to be a perfect day and you always have a cry and you're like, oh, I fucking hate today. Like, why is it going so, you know what I mean? I think because we apply such pressure to, we romanticize our lives to the point where it's toxic. Life has always got to have some shit to make you appreciate the good. Does that make sense? So I don't understand why I always fall back into this category of, oh, life's always fine. Everything's great. That's not the way to look at it, Dom. No, because yesterday I got some harrowing news and I was like, oh my God, no, it's not. Life is sometimes a fucking bitch and you want to punch her in the face. Don't know why I'm feminizing that life. We'll call life a him, trigger warning, but I'd rather punch a him than a her, obviously. What the fuck? I can't really laugh. I feel like I've had Botox. So yeah, that is currently where I'm at. I've had a really stressful piece of news this week that's completely like swept me under. I'm in panic mode right now. In a few days I'll be fine. But right now I'm in panic mode. And I thought I'd just document how I am in panic mode so I can look back at it and be like, oh, I was really freaking out over nothing. Because a lot of the time we do freak out over nothing. A lot of the time, I mean, I'm emotional as fuck. I'm a Scorpio, Leo moon, Sag rising. If I'm not angry, I'm upset. Or emotional. Do you know what I mean? So I am very hot-headed. My temper is, I'm not got like anger issues. I'm not going to punch you in the face unless you're like, you know, ugly. I'm joking. But like I can get very angry, but sometimes I can mix a Scorpio into it and become the most evil bitch you've ever seen. But I pride myself on that, but I can't really be evil to the people that have instigated this massive stress because I don't want that bad karma. So for now, what I'm trying to do is ride it out. What I'm trying to say from this whole point of me saying I'm a Scorpio, and how I can't be angry at people is sometimes people will be shit to you. Sometimes shit will happen to you, especially in your early 20s. We're all going through our adolescent era. We're all growing up, and there's going to be people. I'm speaking so quickly. I've just got so much to say. There's going to be people that are horrible to you. There's going to be people that are rude and disrespect you and bring you down and gossip about you and make you feel like shit. That is life. You can either pull an old me and be like, okay, I'm going to come for you now because you come for me, or I'm going to, you know, it's a battle of the ego. Your ego's been bruised because someone's chatted about you. The best thing you can do here in any circumstance, doesn't have to be a person dragging you down. It can be an actual thing. For example, in my case, this is an actual thing that's going down. I'm not going to let it drag me down. I'm going to be like, okay, cool. I observe it. I welcome it. It's happening for a reason. I'm not going to think too much about it. Cool. It's happened. Sayonara. Moving on with my life. You can apply that ethos to a lot of things. Where attention goes, energy flows, you know? So if I'm there, sat there going, okay, I'm now going to be like stranded. I've got no rent to afford. That is the energy I'm putting into my life. And what that does is I notice that my heartbeat gets faster. I start panicking more because I'm welcoming the idea, the fictional idea, may I add, that I'm going to be broke, that I'm going to be this, that, the other. It's not going to happen, obviously. There's always a different way you can go down. I hope I'm making sense. This is an absolute ramble, but yeah, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. Not in the sense of being ill, but just a little bit like I'm not on tip-top shape today. Like I did wake up and put my gym outfit on at 9 a.m. and it's now 11:11. Oh my God, make a wish. Suddenly life is great. Oh my gosh. No, do you know what? I love my life. It's fantastic. Goodbye, guys. I'm joking. Circling back to the point of today's episode, stress and pressure as a 20-year-old, early 20s or in your 20s, it's knowledgeable. What? It's proven that A lot of 20-year-olds don't have it all figured out, and that's okay. And I think social media also, pardon me, I've got hiccups now, great. Did you know if you have hiccups, you can hold your breath and it will like not kill your diaphragm, but your diaphragm goes into spasm, which is what causes the hiccups. So if you hold your breath, it stops oxygen going to the diaphragm, so it stops it. Does that make sense? Anyways, I'm waffling. Early 20s is never easy. I think people are very like, actually it is. You've got everything handed to you on a plate. Da, 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 da. Yeah, okay, some people do, but not everyone. I have had quite a stressful 20, 21 journey. You know, moved to London, adult shit started instantly, had to pay bills, council tax, which I still disagree with. I think council tax is ridiculous, and tax as a whole. Anyways, you know, then I got my heart broke. So it's not been, I'm not going to say like, you know, I've had the worst time ever, but it's certainly been not to the expectation of the romanticized outcome that I had. Does that make sense? So I certainly had like a lot more higher hopes for my 20s and 21. And while that sounds like I'm being an ungrateful bitch, I'm definitely not. I'm super grateful for everything I have. And I always, every single day, even if I feel like shit, I'm going to write down 10 things that I'm grateful for to start off my day, to raise those vibrations. If you don't know what that is, I will definitely do a podcast episode on that. I really want to, but right now I'm angry. And of course, the podcast isn't actually out yet. It comes out next Wednesday because I'm currently filming this on the 19th of Jan. This episode won't be in for a month or two at least. So I know that I'll be in a different place by the time this podcast episode comes out. That's saying something because I know that life does move. Life moves pretty fast. He didn't lie. Life does move fast. You can wake up one day and win the lottery. You can wake up one day and realize, morbid, but you know, a family member's died or a close friend has died. You know, that means the plan that you had tonight or the holiday that you had is not going to happen. But then come the holiday or the event that's not meant to happen, something else comes up and it was meant for you to go. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to say is like, I'm trying to tell myself this as well. I'm trying to calm myself down because I'm actively stressed. I'm really like, but I'm trying to say to myself, it's chill, calm down. Everything happens for a reason. I know a lot of you can apply that ethos to toxic positivity, but I disagree. I think everything does happen for a reason. Like, for example, in Iceland, my mum and I just landed and we were meant to go to this canyon bath, which I'm sure I've shared on socials by now. But they cancelled it because the tour guide was ill. So then it was moved to the next morning at 10 a.m. And I was like, oh, it's going to be like light then and kind of boring. Little did I know that in Iceland, they got like 4 hours of daylight there in the winter. So the sun rises at like 9:51. It's dark. It's pitch black until about 9 a.m. or 9:30. So we started going at 10 to this canyon bath and the sun was rising and we were in this canyon while the sun was rising and it was snowing and it was gorgeous. It was the most beautiful morning and most therapeutic morning of my life, and it was just the most beautiful thing ever. And that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have it postponed because the tour guide got ill. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just trying, like, I don't think I'm going in any sort of chronological order here, but I'm trying to chuck loads of things at you and I'm hoping they'll stick. And I'm really hoping if you're still here, you're enjoying this episode. I'm sorry that it's an absolute mess. I was like, right, I need to do something productive today. I'm going to sit down and film an episode of me waffling. But yeah, I do think that this, again, I'm going to bring it up. 20s stress, it's prominent. Everyone has it differently though. A lot of it could be exam stress, moving stress, family stress, friend stress. It exists in all of us. I'm not just saying if you're not 20, you can't have stress. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm certainly saying for the demographic of, I'd say around 19 to 23, there's definitely a pressing pressure to have your life sorted out, to have that lucky girl life, which I would disagree on parts of myself saying that there. You can actually transform your life by the power of thought. We can get into that. But we're going to get into what I was just saying. Stress. We all have it. It's unavoidable. It's shit. It's very irritating and very annoying. And I would love to do life without stress. There's certainly things and coping mechanisms that I could do to avoid more stress, which I will definitely adopt. But sometimes it's good to feel angry. Sometimes it's good to be like, oh my fucking God, I'm fuming and it feels great to be angry. I could just say that because I've got 2 fire signs in me, but I think, you know, you can be angry. Feeling emotion is powerful, but don't let it consume you though. One thing I would say is when I was heartbroken, I'd be crying every fucking day. And in August, I read a journal entry recently and I was like, okay, it's the end of August. I should stop crying now. I know, you know, there's no time limit on healing and stuff, but this is getting boring. I'm just crying for the hell of it now. Although that was a very healing process, crying every single day. Enough. Stop going off onto certain different tracks, Dominic. Stay on the one you're on. Okay, back to stress. It's shit. It's unavoidable. We can't do anything about it. So just live with it. One thing that in many self-help books that I've read, every single one says the same thing. Notice that the emotion is there. Welcome it. Don't try. I think because obviously a lot of us just try and put our barriers up and be like, okay, I'm going to try and do something else and distract myself. Process that emotion. Process it. Allow it in. Sit with it for a while and be like, okay, cool. You're here. I notice you. And eventually it will dissolve. In The Secret, or I think it's called The Greatest Secret, which is the sequel, Rhonda Byrne is a fantastic author. She teaches, the secret is very law of attraction. It's very, for some of you who are quite pessimistic, it's very wishy-washy. It's very spiritual. It's very looking out onto the universe, manifesting. In The Greatest Secret, she tells us how to deal with negative attitudes, not to sort of push them away and distract yourself and be like, no, I'm fine. She says, allow it in, almost embrace it, like hug the emotion. Like, I think she says, like, hug yourself and say, it's going to be okay. I process this emotion. I feel it, and it minimizes it. Because obviously if you're to like give attention to an emotion, it will dissolve quicker. Does that make sense? So like negative feelings and negative emotions, if you give attention to it, where attention goes, energy flows. But if you're like, I observe you, I know you're here, I welcome you, feel, be felt, and then piss off. One thing that really does help me is journaling. 10 times out of 10, journaling has helped me massively. And I will constantly say this. I've got an empty journal that's just arrived in the post yesterday that I'm going to fill today. Not fill, but I will fill a few pages at least. And I'm going to write down, because writing is better for me than typing. You can do any medium you want, but I prefer writing. It just feels a lot more cathartic and a lot more natural for me to write my thoughts as they come in. And I'm going to just write down everything that's affected me, why I'm stressed. I'm going to try and make a 3-month plan for myself and just breathe and balance out what's happened here and analyze it. How do I reply to this person? How do I reply to this person? How do I approach this person? Because of this, I need to speak to people about it. And sort of just ensure that I am good and I know that I'm all right and I know that it will work out. Wow, this is really helping me as I'm filming this podcast episode, really. I'd recommend you do the same. If something really big and really stressful and something that has changed the narrative that you thought this year would have for you, I would strongly recommend just planning. So writing down how you think it's going to affect you, write down how you feel, write down, okay, I'm going to feel like this today, and that's, no one can stop me. Great. Make a playlist for how you're feeling, like listen to sad songs, angry songs that if you want to uplift yourself. I would also really, really recommend writing down a plan for the future. I think that's something that us as 20-year-olds and in our 20s, don't do much of. I don't know about you, but me, I'm very much like, oh, okay, I don't really plan my life that far ahead, but I'll certainly see it next week. And I think that is a good method to have for a few weeks. Then it start to be adult and like get a calendar app. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go to a coffee shop, download a calendar app, and just plan my life out and be like, okay, I've got this then, viewing then, meeting then, plan the life out more so you have more structure and you have things in those days. Because for me, it's like, okay, I'll make a mental note of that. The day comes around, oh my God, shit, I've got a premiere tonight. I've got a date with a friend tonight, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it's very irritating, and it's something that I definitely need to work on in this new year, that I shouldn't be freeballing and just waving through. I need structure, because as someone who hates when structure is imbalanced, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, I need to get my head down more and put more of a solid structure down. Moving on. Well, not moving on. We're staying on the same point because I'm chatting the same shit. But circling back, let's say, it is a hard path to navigate when you're in your 20s. I'm 21. I know I can't really comment for when I'm 26. I don't know where I'll be in 5 years' time. But for now, I have had a pretty good ride of it. Certainly big life things, such as going through the first heartbreak. Never easy. We'll do that in another podcast episode, though, because I can talk about that for hours. Moving house, bills, rent. These are all things that exist. And these are all things that I have done and gone through. And I'm kind of tired of them now. If I'm being brutally honest, I'm tired of paying rent. I'm tired of bills. I know I'm going to have to pay them for the rest of my life, but I'm going to speak to my accountant in this future plan that I'm doing and think about ways best to invest my money and save money and budget, and also, you know, invest in properties and stuff, because I need to utilize the money that I'm earning and not just waste it on Ubers and food and rent, actually. Because if you think about it, if you're thinking about it from a business point of view, rent is a bit pointless if you think about it. It's a very good rapid way to get into housing, into London, but it's not a good long term, I think. Personally, you can disagree with me there, but it's completely up to you. Your narrative is your narrative. My narrative is my narrative. The end. But yeah, I'm going to go down to a coffee shop, plan my life. I love talking to you guys about this stuff. I feel like we're having a call right now, and I'm just like laying it down on you all. But yeah, certainly back to the stress that I felt this week. One thing about me is when I'm stressed is that I just think for like 5 minutes, I think the whole world is ending. I think there's asteroids and meteors about to hit the earth. I think the weeping angels have taken over the whole world. I think that I'm going to die. And then I have, you know, a Kit Kat, you're not you when you're hungry, or a fucking peppermint tea or something to eat. And I'm like, life is so good. And then I'm like, okay, no, cool. I can really sort of figure this out. It's going to be fine. But one thing that I do need to work on is that I do not overreact, but I do. My panic level, it's like someone in me that, like, I imagine, you know, the little characters in Fall Guys, those little like bean shaped characters. I imagine that they are like my cells and they are working in and throughout my body. My body is like a massive complex, and the person on the panic button is just like, yeet, and then I'm suddenly like, oh my God, everything's going wrong, panic. And that is what I tend to do often. I tend to like hyper panic, and it's so unhealthy for me. It's so bad. I shouldn't do it, but I do. So I feel like that is certainly something that we can talk about, that 20s as a whole are a very stressful time. It's okay if you don't have your life sorted out. It's okay if you have things that happen that make the floor sweep out from under you and you feel like you're free falling. Life is unpredictable. Life can be difficult, but it can also be beautiful. And I think through these hard times, we then appreciate the good. And also, it's like, for example, you're going up a really rough and tough and horrible mountain, and it's cold and it's bitter and it's horrible. But by the time you get to the top, the sun is rising. You see the most beautiful sunrise of your life. And it was all worth it because you traveled to that destination and you are loving life. So I feel like there's no positive without the negative. You've got to appreciate it. Sometimes it can be unquestionable, and sometimes it can be audacious and horrible. And it's like, what the fuck? You got to roll with it. You got to roll with the times. You can't be beaten by it. You can't let yourself be beaten. You can actually let yourself be beaten for a day or two. Give yourself some time to be like, okay, I'm defeated. And then be like, let's channel the rock. We stay hungry, we devour. Let's get back into it and fucking go and smash my fucking dreams. Because if you don't do that, if you allow yourself to be beaten, I don't know what to tell you, bestie. Like, not the voice cracks. Oh my God. But yeah, what I'm going to do today is I really thought that today I was just going to be in bed all day crying and feeling like shit. No, I'm going to go for a jog. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to try and do a leg day at the gym. And I'm going to go to the coffee shop and plan my life out, call my accountant, get a mortgage advisor, get shit done. And by the time this podcast episode comes out, I really hope I've sorted out some things. Future Dom, you know what I'm talking about. I would tell you guys, but I'm a firm believer in evil eye. I don't really want to tell my business just yet until it happens. So you'll see. But keep your eyes peeled because it's going to be fucking huge. But yeah, thank you for listening. I apologize for the short podcast episode. I feel like that's everything I've chatted about today. But just to recap, 20s are never an easy time. If you have just graduated college and you're about to start uni and you're shit scared, we can do that in another episode. But that also counts as early 20s. If you're 27 to 29, that also counts as 20s. It's an uneasy time for all of us. We're just trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And life is never easy, and it's never guaranteed, and it's never set out. Unless, of course, you have a life coach, which I should probably get one. Anyways, I'm going to head off, but thank you so much for listening today. I've been Dom. You've been listening to POV with Dom. My POV on this week is that stress can be fucking difficult, but you can get through it if you slow down, appreciate the emotion, and then plan out how you're going to get through it. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I love you all very, very dearly. You're all my children now. And I hope you all have a lovely, lovely week. Yeah, I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.